What's going on, YouTube? Today we're back in the garage, this time with Dad, and we've got my Kioti CK2610 back. Just like in the last video, I talked about turning the fuel pump up back to 35 horse where this motor was originally designed to be, and so today we're going to give that a shot. All right, so obviously first step, you're going to have to get your hood up, and then this cap here is going to have to be removed. So I've read where a Dremel sometimes with a cutoff wheel is a good tool of choice. So that's what I've got. So we're gonna give that a shot first, and just obviously be careful how far you cut into it. And then that'll hopefully gain us access to the screw, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now I got the Dremel set up here with just a regular cutoff wheel on it. And we're gonna just kind of go nice and slow and see what we can happen. Okay, so we're getting through it here just a little bit on the end. So I just gotta continue working on this part up here. Like I said, again, we're just gonna go real nice and slow. Also, you probably noticed I got the wiring harness moved out of the way just to gain better access without damaging the harness. Let's get back at it. Alright, so now we've got it cut quite a bit of way through. So we're going to take our own favorite pry bar now and get in here and try to open this up. Okay, so we got it opened up a little bit here. You can start to see the adjustment screw inside a little more. So I got just a little bit more grinding on this end. You just gotta be careful because you're starting to get close to the injection pump. All right, so now I decided to go through and get both sides cut. So it opened up easier. And now you can start to see the flat spots right here for the wrench flats to be able to actually turn the adjustment. All right, so now that the engine is covered in dust from the grinding wheel and the sensor is covered in metal filings, I went around and decided to start cutting the perimeter of it here. So now I'm going to get the screwdriver in here and try to pry this open this way. Because I believe all we're going to need to do is just gain access to those wrench flats instead of actually removing the entire cover. Alright, it appears we're getting somewhere here now. So what I managed to do was just cut around the diameter of this sleeve, right? Because the problem is you take a round cutoff wheel, you can only get so close in here before you start to touch the block. Or not the block, I guess it's the ignition or injection pump. But see, like right here, I had touched where I tried cutting from the bottom to gain more room. So for all of you that are doing this, just cut 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch back from the end. Probably 3/4 of an inch, be safe. And cut around the outside, leave the inner sleeve intact so it doesn't look like this mangled mess now. And then it'll gain us access to our screw. Alright, so I just made another discovery with this. So I got looking, and I wanted to take the rest of the sleeve off, but I had a hard time getting in here, right? So this little piece on the end with the wrench flats on it is just a cover. So if you unthread this with a pair of pliers, this part is just a jam nut, right? So now if this is off, now we can cut this sleeve off. And then put our jam nut back on, turn in our screw, or turn out our screw, sorry. Okay, so now that we're down here, we've got the cap off, and we've got access to the jam nut. So now I'm going to start the tractor, and then I'm going to rev it. And we're not going to get any smoke, obviously. Stock position, right? So then we're going to turn this out approximately 2 turns, and then we're going to rev it again. And if we see a faint bit of smoke at that point, then we will have to go back in about a quarter of a turn. But the idea is you want to look for just a hint of smoke when it's under load. And so let's go give it a try. All right, so we've got the tractor running. And let's see here. It's hard to see with the hood up, but we give it a rev. We're not getting any smoke, right? So now we need to turn this thing out a couple turns. Now the smart thing to do would be to shut this off so you don't risk getting your screwdriver stuck in the fan. But I'm also working with a loader above my head, so we don't really apply the smart things here all the time. All right, so now that we've got our adjustment screw set where we like it, make sure the screw does not move, and we'll snug our jamming nut up with a pair of pliers on the wrench flats, and then we'll put the cap on, snug that down, and it should be all set. All right, so now we got our wire back in our little holder here, everything tightened down, so let's go start it up and see where we're at. You're gonna wanna double check it after you tighten everything down because there's a good chance your screw moved. And hopefully that's it. Now, obviously, revving it in the garage is not the best way to try it, right? The best way to do it's going to be load the box blade up with as much weight as possible and load the thing up and go from there. So we'll have to try it, but the hard part's done. So now, at any point, if you wanted to make another adjustment with it, it's easy enough to do. So there, in a gist, that's how you turn the power up on your Kioti CK2610. You probably are going to ask, why would you want to do this? Why not just buy the 35 horsepower tractor in the first place? Well, something about that old school diesel that is all mechanical and stuff. It's not that I'm not a fan of technology. It's not true at all. In fact, engine after engine after everything in here would pull carburetors off and LS swap or whatever. I mean, hell, there's an LS and a bike, right? So it's not that I'm afraid of the technology or anything, right? It's just that the particulate filters are very expensive. If you look at the diesel truck side of stuff, there has been some failures. And let's be honest with you, this technology is pretty new, you know? So, you know, I just figured long term, the durability of the old school mechanical injection was going to be a good thing. The other thing, it's quite a bit cheaper, right? So it's $2,500, $2,800 cheaper than the 35 horse. And, you know, it's kind of been one of my goals all along was buying this, knowing that this was an option, is to turn the power up on it. So hopefully we'll like the results, and I'll go get it hooked to something sometime this week and see how it performs. If there's anything else you guys want to see tractor-wise, any complaints about me working under a loader or not wearing my safety squints or any of that stuff, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. Feel free to like, share it to your friends, share it to the Kioti pages, you know, and make sure to subscribe because it definitely helps the channel out. Thanks. See you later.